Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and it is Saturday evening, which is an unusual time for us to be broadcasting. But we changed our broadcasts this week because of Christmas. Hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. I need some lipstick. I certainly had a lot of fun myself, and I'm certain that a lot of you, well, hopefully a lot of you had a great Christmas as well. I certainly heard some fun things at lunchtime today when we did our lunchtime broadcast. So here we go. I have to say that today we're going to be talking about coping with life after Christmas, because I don't know about the rest of you, but there's this huge build up to Christmas, and then it's sort of like, hi, Jody. And I, for one, am looking forward to getting about 3 days sleep, and I'm pretty certain I'm not the only one. Hi, it's so good to see you. And so what we're going to be talking about today, hopefully, is to talk a little bit about just life after Christmas and how organized you are. I am delighted to say that between the two broadcasts today, I did manage to get my kitchen looking like it should. Nearly. I'm just looking at it going, yeah, but nearly. And so I wonder what rooms in your house are looking a little less than you would like them to. Which rooms have not yet got nice and organized again. And I was noticing from at least one of my friends today that they are busy taking down their Christmas decorations tomorrow. So that was a question I had. When does everybody take down their Christmas decorations? So give me some feedback on that one. I'd certainly be interested to know when you do that. We talk about coping with life because I've discovered that what makes me happy is my ability to cope with everything. Not just the good, but can I cope with the bad as well as I can cope with the good? Jody's saying every room could use a little help from Santa's elves. Yes, and you know something, Jody, I found that Santa's elves did not tidy up after themselves quite as well as they would have liked. And now, of course, I've got the added interesting point, which is I am now going to need to pack up a box of what I call Christmas stuff, because that will join the other boxes of Christmas stuff when I eventually get back to my home. And it was very difficult for me not to buy everything I knew I already had too much of. And I tried not to do that. Jody's saying she takes the tree down at the end of January. Wow. My family, we always took the tree down on the 5th of January. So interesting. What about everybody else? Let's hear what everybody else does and why. Hi, Nyasha. Good to see you as well. And Jeannie, if I missed you. Oh, that coffee's tasting so good today. For those of you who don't know, DearMamaSal is a group of people who get together 3 times a week, and we sort of hold each other's hands as we go through life. Because one of the things that's really important for everybody to understand, everybody goes through stuff every week. And it's not about the fact that we go through stuff, it's what we do to keep our emotional intelligence in check while we go through all the ups and downs of life. So feel free to participate. Join us in the chat if you'd like to. Just remember, if you do join the chat, that I am inclined to pick up those comments and talk to them. So if you don't want me repeating something, please make sure you say that at the beginning of your comment, because there has been a time when I was halfway through the comment before I realized it said, please don't repeat this. I'm not perfect either. A couple of tips for the week. I want to make sure that everybody gets to hear this. Isabel's saying they take the tree decorations down about the 5th. But since we put them up earlier, I don't know. Well, who do we need to ask, Isabel? Because if you don't know, who in your household does? That would be my question. And Jean is saying that we have a 2-foot tabletop tree this year. We'll take it down in a few days. Yeah. And hi, Becca. Good to see you. You've been in overload for some time. Well, we certainly understand that. And, you know, Christmas, I know, is a very difficult time for a lot of people. And particularly with your, you know, your history, Becca. So just well done. And thank you for popping it in. It's really great to see you. All right. So a couple of tips for those of you who might have missed them. One of the things I found was that, you know, trying to bake Christmas stuff without your Christmas baking pans is really quite a challenge. But one of the things that I realized was that I was doing a spice cake, and I was doing it in a casserole dish because that was the only pan that I had. You know, I'm living in rented accommodation at the moment. And what I decided to do was to spray the casserole dish and then sprinkle spices on it first before I put the mixture in. And I did nutmeg, cinnamon, and allspice, and just, you know, mush that all around the pan. And then I poured the spice cake mixture in. Boy, was that a good idea. And I was so inspired by that, that by the next day when I did red velvet cake, I actually decided I would put down vanilla powder. Thank you, Jody. Vanilla powder first, so that, you know, that the base of the red velvet cake, you got that extra little zing of vanilla powder. Very, very easy to do and made all the difference. The other thing that I learned a long time ago, and I don't know if any of you do this, when I make cakes out of cake mixes, I don't use oil. I actually use applesauce instead of oil. And so it's just, you know, when it says, you know, put in half a cup of oil, I just put in half a cup of applesauce. And I think it's much healthier for that. And it doesn't change the texture at all. It just really is amazing that it's just light and fluffy and tastes good. Jeannie's saying the apartment complex baking contest is back on for this coming week. As you know, I am entering. Yes, we do know that, and all the best. Let us know what you decide to put in this year. Becca's saying, my connection might be in and out tonight. I'll try and catch as much as I can. Well, we'll look forward to that. Thank you. Jody's saying that saves so many calories. That's absolutely amazing. So, did you not know that, Jody? I learned that years ago from somebody who was what I call a fairly healthy cook. And quite honestly, I originally only ever used it if I didn't have enough, you know, I'm inclined to have olive oil, but I don't want to cook cakes with olive oil. But it really does, you know, it's worth a try. So just, you know, try it. And it just, you can't taste the apple. Oh, you did know about it. Okay, fine. Excellent. Did anybody have reason to listen to their inner voice this week? You know, we like to have that segment. Becca's saying, I had an anxiety attack after we closed tonight. So I'm trying to calm my heartbeat down since I got home. All right. So anxiety means that you were looking forward, not being in the present. All right. What we always discuss is if you're in depression, you've been spending too much time thinking back. And if you're anxious, then for some reason you're thinking forward. The other thing is, Becca, good for you talking about it, and good for you coming in and chatting to us about it, because we all learn when those things happen. And so part of my reality is, if you can, you know, keep doing things to distract yourself, like, for example, be on the broadcast, but also keep counting things. You know, just literally journal, write things down, get your mind off the anxiety. You know, I would write a list of all the things you're grateful for in 2020. The first of all being that you're still around, and we're delighted that you are. So Jeannie's saying, Beacon employees are actually tasting entries this time. Oh, that's awesome. So Becca's saying she has both. She has both depression and anxiety, which means you spend a lot of time thinking about the past and a lot of time being scared of the future, but not very much time living the present. You know, Becca, it takes a lot of discipline to learn to stay in the present. I assure you, Becca, I could be driving myself insane worrying about the future at the moment. In terms of, you know, when I get back to my house, will I be able to afford the things I've lost in the fire? You know, all those sort of things. I could literally be driving myself into an insanity. And so could Jeannie, but we're not. We're just dealing with one day at a time. All right, so Jody's saying that the calories in half a cup of oil are 1,910. Half a cup of unsweetened applesauce, only 83. So I'm glad that I did the right thing. And what surprised me, it's a bit like, you know, finding out that some of the chocolates that I made are not nearly as dangerous as, you know, in terms of calories and stuff as I thought. But, you know, it is interesting that just by switching out the oil and putting in applesauce, you can reduce the calories by that much. Isn't that wonderful? So, yes, and Jeannie is saying the same thing, that she and York just take one day at a time because that's all they can deal with. I wanted to ask, yeah, there's that much difference in it, Becca. I knew it was a huge difference. And, you know, we always rely on our admin, Jody, to give us the facts on these things. But it's really amazing how much healthier it is for you just to put in applesauce. It is, you know, I that's why I thought I should mention it, because I don't think I've ever talked about it. And I thought, I think I am going to mention it. So what I ended up with was, you know, if you think about it, it was a much healthier 2 lots of baking for people. And that's what I was looking for. I mentioned this at lunchtime, and I will say it again. Oh, Jody's made a correction. 955 calories in half a cup of oil. All right, so 955. So, but even so, a huge difference, because applesauce, half a cup of applesauce is just 83. So isn't that wonderful? I wanted to ask, how many of you were good about being environmentally conscious with your wrapping this year? Did any of you have any hacks in terms of wrapping for the environment rather than for all the show? And, you know, if so, let's share them, because it's important to know. One of the hacks that I saw that I didn't do because I'm not at home, but I am going to start doing it now, is people saving, you know, those containers that the foil and Glad wrap and stuff come in, and that they decorated those, you know, with sort of red paint and then gold squished over the top of it, and used it for cookies. I think that is so clever. That to me is just like really a good idea of repurposing. I showed you guys. Let me just get it again in case you missed it. Hang on a sec. Now, I must admit that during the month of December, I keep my toilet rolls, and I make you know, little containers to put chocolates in. But I do put the chocolates in plastic first. Oh, well, now that I've got it unwrapped, I might as well eat it. This is my salted caramel that I forgot to put in people's bags for Christmas. So I'm just enjoying them now. But with scorbits. It's been out in the big fridge on the deck. Oh, it's so good. Jeannie's saying, sad to say, we have to take on our insurance company now because they have discounted items way too much and indiscriminately. We are claiming age discrimination. Our advisor says they're doing it often. Yes, I'm sure it's going to happen to me. I have a story about that, which I will tell in a second, Jeannie, because I think it is important that people know that. So now then, what I found was a definition of motivation. Just before the first broadcast. So good, people. I'm going to leave the second one. Just before the first broadcast today, I managed to drop my lip balm and it rolled under my couch. And this couch is one of those sofa bed couches. And it's too heavy for me to move or lift. So what I found motivation was you really want to if you really want to do something, you will do it. So I really did want to recover that lipstick. I did not want it staying there forever and ever. Boy, the things I tried with, I had spatulas I was trying to dig it out with. I had a dust mop I was trying to do it with. I had a Swiffer duster I was trying to do. And I was on the floor for probably half an hour trying to recover it. But I did. Yay. But I had to laugh as I thought to myself, that's motivation. And so, if you haven't done your exercise, it's because you don't want to. All right, because really, if you want to do something, you will find the time and make the effort to do it. Excuse me. Here's a saying. I go to a shop Americans call thrift store and then buy linen items, scarves, small baby blankets. That's so clever. Anyway, she uses them to replace wrapping. I will also use empty food containers and cans. Yeah. I was thinking that, holding on to some of those plastic containers that you get raspberries in or blueberries or whatever, they'd make really nice containers to use to put cookies in. If you put some nice tissue paper in it first, put your cookies in, and then, wrap that. I was, in newspaper or something. I was thinking that would be really well. Somebody asked me what color gold this is. It's not close for me to show you, but I will find out and let you know. It's not just gold. This is gold, copper, and silver. All three are in there. So it's not one color. Can you see that? It's got different colors in it. So it's not just one color. So I look at it and go, it's really important, if we can, to find different ways to wrap things that reuses whatever we can. It actually works really well, Jody, for candies and little things. I make pendants and things, and they're ideal for wrapping a pendant in, just a little bit of tissue paper. So Did you get anything that was cleverly wrapped? Again, I'm a great believer in, how do other people wrap things? So did you get anything that was cleverly wrapped this year? I made sure that everything I used for wrapping could be reused. In other words, I was showing it at lunchtime. I used these to put in a lot of the candy treats, but I was hoping that people would keep them and reuse them for next year for somebody else. And I just wrapped things in tissue paper that people could use as well. Hi, Sharon, good to see you. And we're delighted you popped in to say hi, and hope you had a very Merry Christmas. So I'm pretty certain that everybody did Christmas a different way this year. How many of you feel that you did Christmas with less money this year? Or did you spend more? How about that one? Yeah, with the pandemic and not having people over, did you find that you spent more because of having to get things through things like Amazon or whatever? Or did you find that you spent less? Jeannie's saying we spent much less. Okay, that's good. I found that I accidentally bought the plastic to, these sort of baggies to put the chocolates in. I accidentally bought probably enough for the next 3 years. But they will last 3 years. I've got to eat this other one. So I'm not too unhappy about that. Ellen DeGeneres said, nothing says holidays like a cheese log. How many of you have made or ate cheese log this Christmas? Yes, Sharon, I agree with you. Sharon's saying, I gave a lot of homemade gifts, soap, masks, keychains. Good. And quite honestly, that is all that we should do. All right. I like the thing where, we need to make our gifts rather than buy them. Kez is saying, I've seen people gift small plants or a seedling in fruit containers. Yep. Sorry, everybody. Jeannie said, I gave small Thanksgiving gift to a dear friend. She told me that on Christmas, I'm always giving. So why feel bad this year? Yeah, and Sharon's saying everybody was so excited about the soap. Yeah, I found that people, just appreciate anything that you took a bit of time with. And funny enough, I ended up baking 3 loaves of bread because, 3 of the people I was giving presents to are people who love my bread. So I did that as well. Kristen Wigg said that there's something about a Christmas sweater that will always make me laugh. Did any of you wear, like myself, a Christmas sweater? And by the way, I was saying that that this is the first Christmas sweater I've ever had. If you can believe that. And it was given to me yesterday, and I was so excited because I've never had one before. I was like a kid with candy. I got a Christmas sweater. I found an interesting fact. I didn't know this, but Taylor Swift said, I grew up on a Christmas tree farm, so it is a good season for me. I was too young to help with the hauling of the trees up the hills and putting them into cars. So it was my job to pull the praying mantis pods off the Christmas trees. Now, I didn't know about this. She said the problem with that is if you leave them on, people bring them into their houses. And I forgot to check one time, and they hatched all over people's houses. There were hundreds of thousands of them. Now, I didn't know that. Did anybody else? And I'm pretty certain that some of you will relate to this. And somebody said, and Eloisa James said, I don't want the Christmas season to end because it's the only time I can legitimately indulge on the particular addiction of glitter. And I don't know about the rest of you. And then I spend the rest of the year trying to get rid of it. Yeah, I didn't know that praying mantises, or manti, however the Latin goes on that one, they hatch their young on Christmas trees. I didn't know that. So we'll be doing some more research into that. Okay, I hope you don't get too much lag either, Becca. Thank you for coming back. I know that your reception always has a problem from olden days. Melanie White said, my husband's idea of Christmas spirit is to become Scrooge. I don't know why I found that amusing. Now, another really good tip that I have for you that I have never done before. This year, as I was making chocolates and things, you're always going to end up with little crumbs of stuff on I do mine on a breadboard. So after I've made, chocolate things, they're going to be scrapings of chocolate on the breadboard. This year, I actually took a scraper and literally took all those little bits of chocolate that fell off the chocolates, or I cut them off to get them squared up properly. And I put them in a small container. And what I'm doing is I'm sprinkling those over desserts. And, I've got one that's got a combination of some white chocolate and coconut. And I've got another one that is, salted chocolate, salted caramel. I've got another one that's milk chocolate with toffee, so I've got all sorts of different combinations, and it's working really, really well. So I just thought I'd share that with you because, sometimes, normally in the old days, I would have just thrown all of that away. I got to be quite honest. And this year I thought, I don't think I'm going to throw it away. Kez is saying she wore Christmas jewelry. Yes, how many of you have Christmas earrings that you wore, or a Christmas brooch, or maybe, and we wore I think I can find it for you because I know you'd like to see that. I was saying at lunchtime that on Christmas Eve, we sat outside around a gas campfire and sang carols. And let's hope that I can get to these pictures here. Rats, I downloaded those pictures. Hold on a second. I want to see if I can get to them. And if so, how do I show you? I'm going to have to. Oh, I think what I will do, rather than make you all wait, I will find some of those pictures and then I'll put them up on Facebook for you. Unfortunately, I downloaded them from my phone today. That is so sad. I should have left them here so I could show you. Never mind. So, yeah, I didn't have any Christmas jewelry this year. I normally would have Christmas earrings and stuff. But anyway, what I wanted to tell you was while we were singing carols out, socially distant outside, we had like reindeer antler type things, headbands with Christmas lights on them that Betty Ann found, and they were such fun. Yes, you wore light up plastic Christmas earrings, Becca's saying that she did that. So I had this headband with colored lights on it that was flashing. And we really did have fun singing the Christmas carols. It was really good. You know, sitting, you know, there's something about singing Christmas carols and drinking hot chocolate with, you know, cream on top. It was just such fun to do. Nyasha saying, I'd still be in Google Photos, so yeah, but I transferred them out of my phone. Oh, you mean I can get to them? Oh, all right, that's a good point. Thank you, Nyasha. You always come up with these wonderful ideas. Let me go to my good thinking. So they should be, I'm not sure if they will be in Drive, but maybe they are. Hold on a second. Hang on, it's worth finding it if I can find them. Hang on a second. Unfortunately, the pictures are so small I can't see them. This is all going back. Anyway, I think it's going to be quicker if I just do it you have no idea how many photos I got here, and they're in the reverse order, of course. I don't see 2020. Why? No, they're in all different dates. So I will find them, and then I will. Yeah, but Nyasha, what I'm saying is that since then I've uploaded other photographs, and that will take me a while to sort through where they are. But I will find them, and I'll put them up on Facebook for you so you can see. Try the filter on my phone. I think I've probably spent enough time trying to find them, though, honey. That's my feeling. You know, it's not fair to ask people to wait while I do that. I don't mind if I can do something quickly. I don't like it when it's going to take me a bit more time. But thank you for your help. I appreciated it. By the way, just on the news thing, I'm certain you're all devastated as I was about the Nashville thing. But isn't it incredible? They already have found the guy that owned haven't found the guy, but they have found the guy's address. Yeah, the guy who owned that RV, and they think possibly blew himself up in it. I think it's amazing that in such a short time that they have got that far. And I want to give all credit to all those FBI people who, you know, stopped at their world on Christmas morning to help everybody else. And I'm so glad that they have, you know, worked this quickly to get to the bottom of this. I have to say that forgive me for my voice, but I think this has something to do with, it's Nashville, not national, Becca. There was an incident in Nashville. Yeah. There was a bomb this morning. They seem so professional. I'm sorry, Jeannie, I got messed up with different conversations. So who seems that professional? Oh, the FBI people? Yeah, it's amazing how quickly they work, really. So remember that coping means investing our own time and conscious effort to solve personal and interpersonal problems in order to try and minimize or tolerate stress and conflict. It's really important that we understand that it is our job, not somebody else's, to manage our own conflict and stress levels. All right. And that it is so important for us to know what triggers us and to find out why it does so that we can control it better. Hi, Sandy. Good to see you, even if you are a little late. That's okay. So did any of you actually live a little this Christmas? All right. Did any of you go, I think I'm going to live a little this Christmas? As you know, I bought myself some perfume after 3 months of not having any because it was all taken from my, into storage. But I said at lunchtime today, I'm so pleased to have my perfume back. I'm just, it's amazing the difference that it makes. So that, and what else? Oh, I did replace my Fitbit because I decided, I really liked my Fitbit, and I bought a cheaper version of something else, and it wasn't the same. So I decided, no, it's Christmas, and the prices have come down. So I am going to buy myself a Fitbit for Christmas. So I lived a little. And so I look at it and go, did any of you buy yourself a really nice present for Christmas this year? Just because, it was a Christmas where you'd be perfectly entitled to. All right, so Jeannie's saying, I have a big day tomorrow, so I'm going to bed. Good night and all best wishes. Sleep really well, Jeannie. I am certain I will sleep really well tonight if I'm smart enough to go to bed and go to sleep. Becca, I'm not promoting this, nor am I paid by them, but it is the original Paloma Picasso perfume that she brought out, I believe, in 1984, something like that. And when it was first released, I tried it, loved it, and I've worn it ever since. It's not easy to get, but I am really happy whenever I can get it. And the funny thing is, I still had some that was put into storage, but it probably was only about 1/8 of a bottle. It was down to about this level. And so I thought, it's a really good idea. I saw it, I found it online at a really good price. And I thought, if that is the real one, that's a good price and I'm going to get it. Normally, I only buy it going through duty free. And so, it was just like, okay, I'm going to get that. And I did. So did anybody buy any? Am I the only one that bought themselves Christmas presents this year? It's interesting. See, I think I'm the most important person I can buy a Christmas present for. The other thing I wanted to ask you is how many of you, even though it was a different sort of Christmas and we didn't have as many people visiting or whatever, how many of you found it just as stressful? Yeah, Becca's saying about the bottle for my perfume. I love this bottle. I think, I think the bottle itself is so stylish. And I I think that's what drew me to it originally. And then I actually wore it, and I get so many compliments when I wear this that I knew that was a good perfume for me to wear. It's a slightly woodsy, musky type of perfume. So that's really awesome. All right, so Jody's saying, I haven't had a chance yet. That's not true, Jody. But I plan a little treat for myself soon. That's good. Anybody else? Did anybody else? Or did you get a gift certificate? It's funny, I gave, Yvonne's birthday is Christmas Day as well. And so I gave her a gift certificate for Amazon, and she immediately told me what she was going to be getting with it. So I thought that was interesting. So she obviously had been waiting to put money towards something. Yeah, Becca's saying the bottle that I just showed you is so sleek and fancy. Yeah, I think the elegance of it appealed to me, Becca. I love that sort of simplicity, and it's just a really elegant bottle, and the perfume is the same. Sandy's saying I did not buy myself anything. Hubby bought me the Ring We Fit program for Switch. Now I was quite upset to see that some programs that I want to get for my Wii are Switch ones that I can't get for the original Wii. So I'm going to be finding some interesting hacks around that. Becca's saying, yes, I can somehow picture what type of fragrance you might wear, so just based on your vibe. Yeah, it's an interesting. I can't describe a perfume except to tell you that it is. It does have notes of musk and woodsy type things to it. It's not a floral. It's a much deeper one than that. Oh, Sharon's saying, I bought myself some things for Christmas, but I've forgotten some of them. Yeah, oh, I did buy something else as well. I bought myself the Russian decorating tips, for using with making cupcakes. But I really want to say to everybody, if you decide to use those things, buy them way before Christmas and practice. Not a thing to try the night before Christmas or night before Christmas Eve. But I must say that I found one tip that is really beautiful, and luckily it did do some. I managed to get some of it right, and people were just, "How did you do that?" And I'm going, "Thank you, Jody." So now what I'm going to try and do is see what happens if you pipe mashed potato through that tip. You know what I mean? Because I'm going, I wonder whether mashed potato, you know me well enough to know that I'm never just going to use them for cupcakes. Yeah, Sandy's saying I can see Sal practicing a lot throughout the year, but you understand I won't just be practicing. I was thinking, what about pureed carrot? There are different things I think that we could try that mixture with. So what I am doing and what I was upset about is it came with disposable piping bags, and I know that I've got piping bags in storage, but it's going to be another 2 or 3 months before I get to those. So I've just decided I'm going to order myself a couple of silicone piping bags, and then I will be able to try all these different things. Yes, whipped cream. I could definitely do some of those and show you, right? I see a broadcast from the kitchen coming up soon. No, but they really are quite fun. But I always remember my mom used to do mashed potatoes that were so pretty. They weren't just, all in a thing. She'd do individual little mounds of mashed potato. It used to look so elegant. And, it was sort of, I want to say, that minimalistic cooking before it became in vogue. All right, Sharon says, I have the complete Wilton decorating tips. I thought about getting those ones like you. I want to tell you, there is one trip alone that was worth the money I paid for them, because it really is, it worked the first time and it really is incredible. Yes, Sandy, that's right. So you pipe the mashed potato, and then as Sandy's saying here, you then just pop them under the grill and they just crisp up and they're so good. Now, I also, and that's why I'm really sad that I uploaded those pictures, but I tell you what I'll do is I'll download them again to my phone so I can show you tomorrow. How about that? Is that a better deal? Because I was, Betty Ann, I went for brunch yesterday, and she made a dish I have never had before. And it was it was white bread with the crust taken off, and then a layer of cheddar cheese, then layer of back bacon, and then whipped up eggs, and then layered again. And so it ended up with like a breakfast casserole, but like a bread pudding casserole for breakfast. I've never had that before. And I don't know about you guys, but when I have something like that, I love those corner pieces, that are crispy. And, I have great difficulty with Betty Ann because she thinks if it's showing crispy in the corners that it's burnt, and she hasn't done it properly. And I keep saying, please feel free to overcook them, because those bits are the best bits of anything. And she also did another dish. I think on Christmas Eve, she did a dish that was really so beautiful as well. And it's beautiful, tasty, no calories whatsoever. So, okay, so Sandy's saying, yes, she'd heard of that, but wanted to make it for years, never did. It was surprisingly tasty. So I would try it at least once, Sandy, just to see if the family like it. But there was nothing left. We finished the whole lot off, and she made a big amount of it. Sounds so Canadian. Why? Because it's got back bacon, maybe? But to me, it was more, I'd like to say it was more old school cooking. Do you know what I mean? It was the sort of things I could imagine that they used to cook on the prairies or something, or, the pioneers were able to cook. But it really, I want to tell you, it was surprisingly tasty. And remember, if you will, we grow because we struggle. And we learn and overcome. For those of us who have lived lives of struggling to overcome, Becca, I always think of you, that you really, all the work you are doing now, you are going to save yourself a lot of misery later on in your life because you were doing the work to sort out those problems. Well done. I'm so proud of you. Sandy's saying my family would probably love it. I put it out of mind because it would be hard for me to eat. I may look it up again and try it for them. Yes, and that is an act of great love when you can make something like that for them. And of course, those of you who live alone or just two of you, easy to make a small amount. I must admit that between the two broadcasts, I made myself a really nice cheese and red pepper omelet. It was so good. And I had it with chopped up steak and some chutney. And it was, it was just like a brunch for me. And it was just so good. Yeah, Sandy's saying most of what I cook these days is for them. Yes, I can imagine that with all that's going on in your life. Now then, I was talking last week about, just know that two 15-minute walks will put in a lot of steps. And I'm not sure, I haven't got many steps in today. Of course, it helps if I know how to use my new watch. Oh, I've done a few more. I've done 3,800 already today. But what I want to do is to do another, put at least another 1,000 or so on before I go to bed. So here's the thing. I challenged you a couple of weeks ago to have the discipline, the self-discipline, to just stand and walk in place for 10 minutes. Has anybody tried it? And what I found out is just walking like that for 10 minutes, you will do a mile. So, but the interesting thing that I found is that most people cannot concentrate long enough to just stay still and walk. for 10 minutes in one place. Their mind gets too distracted. They can't stay focused. And what I wanted you all to do is to concentrate on the focus. Can you do that? And for those of you who can't walk physically, remember what I said. I have now proven that just doing the action of walking while you're sitting, just doing the action of walking brings your heart rate up anyway. You don't have to use your legs necessarily. And that is really important for us to do, especially if any of you, like me, has had a little bit too much to eat over Christmas. So to me, it's all about what are you doing for to make yourself healthier or whatever. Now, if you had told me a couple of months ago that I would buy the Wii Fit and that I would be using it every day and enjoying it and actually feeling bad because I didn't use it yesterday or the day before because of, I had commitments away from the house. It is interesting to me that today, even though I had 2 broadcasts, I made the time to put in at least 10 minutes. And so I think it's really important for you all to realize, remember what I said, what is motivation? Motivation is when you really want to do it. And Becca, I would recommend, if you haven't got a Wii Fit program or something, I would recommend just literally learning to concentrate and walk. For 10 minutes, at least 10 minutes every day. I can now do 45 minutes of different things. I do it different ways because I've got the Wii Fit and I can do different runs and things. And Sandy, I think I did tell you this, but if you follow different dogs, you go on different routes. And that's so exciting to me to have found that out. It's just like, when the dog passes you, they're different colored dogs. And depending which dog you follow, it is a completely different route. It's so exciting to me that I found that out. Now, did any of you save money this Christmas? And if so, do you want to share with us how you did that? I definitely, you don't need to have a Wii, Becca. The thing is, do you want to put in the exercise? It'll be good for your mind. Literally just put your earphones in, get some music that you like, or even some hymns or carols or anything that you particularly like on your headphones. See if you can go through 3 complete ones, just concentrating on walking while they're playing. Yeah, I think most hymns and most songs are about 3 minutes long. So if you can go through 3, that's really what you need to do. And if you cannot make 10 minutes in a day to look after your cardio, then you understand you're not trying. And that's the point that I want to, that's what I've decided, that's what I tell myself. You may not want to do it, Sal, but you need to do it. So forget the excuses, go do it. And I do that first thing after I've checked my emails. As I sit down to do my emails, I take my watch off and charge it. By the way, this new Fitbit, they're saying that the battery should last over a week. The other one I had, you had to charge it every day. So I'm going to see, I fully charged it yesterday. So I want to see if it actually does last a week. If it lasts more than 2 days, I'll be happy. How many of you, how many of you relate to this one? White Christmas is the Bohemian Rhapsody of Christmas songs. I love that. And then I found this one and it says, this came from the movie Elf. We elves try to stick to the 4 main food groups: candy, candy cans, candy corns, and syrup. I'm going, oh yeah, that would be me. Can you see the new Fitbit? Yes, it's new to me. I didn't buy the latest one. I never buy the most modern one because that's always the most expensive. So I like to buy, this is called the Inspire 2. But what I also did, Sandy, which I thought was really smart, there was a deal on that I found that had all these different color bands for it for like $10. And I thought, boy, that's really useful to have all those options because I go through the bands pretty quickly. So hang on a second, let me get these out a bit so you can actually see the colors. See that? So now, to me, that's a really, yeah. So for under $100, I got a new Fitbit and all the bands. I'm going, that's a pretty good deal. Way cool. Yeah, I thought so. All right, so how about this one? Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, and the receipts for all your major purchases. All right, we think we had this one once before. All right, so now let me see if we can find another one for you. How about this one? What I like about Christmas is you can make people forget the past with the present. And I don't know about you. I did something this year because I love to challenge myself with that. I've got a couple of neighbors that are a bit iffy, if you know what I mean. And I made sure that I treated them to the same treats and gifts that I gave the neighbors that I liked. Do you understand what it took mentally to do that? I literally, went, the greatest gift I can give is of not judging them. And I was quite surprised how they reacted to that when I delivered those gifts. And I am so glad I did what I did. Because again, if I had let their treatment of me affect my gifts to them, then they would have changed who I am. And I just went, I am who I am. And if I'm going to give them a gift, I'm going to give them the same gifts that I give other people. So to me, it was just a moment of Christmas spirit. I wonder if that makes sense to anybody. Did any of you gift to anybody that you don't normally care for? Anyway, to me, it's just like that is the challenge I have to myself. Kindness will prevail. Yeah. And it's Sandy, it's a purely selfish thing on my part, right? I don't want me to be changed by them. Their behavior towards me, I don't want that to change who I am. And so how many of you have already done the Boxing Day sales type stuff? Have any of you, taken advantage of the deals that are available now? Yeah, and Becca, I want to tell you at my great age that the trick about Christmas, and so first of all, let me read Becca's comment because it's very relevant. She said, I love gifting, but it can be difficult sometimes because I want to find the exact perfect gift. That is how you will drive yourself insane. What I did this year is I didn't worry about the exact perfect gift. What I did is I just wanted to make sure everybody got a gift that obviously took me time and effort. And to me, that was the greatest gift that I could give them. And, you know, I was stunned how many people said to me, gosh, this must have taken you so much time. And I minimized it slightly and said, well, you know, it saved me from going stir crazy. But, but, you know, I could tell that people appreciated it. Yes, Sandy is saying, I struggled with that so much this year as I was making. I think those of us who make gifts forget how long it takes to make those gifts. I don't think that people who receive them are unaware, Sandy. I noticed that everybody I gave something that I had handmade, everybody was shocked and stunned that I had taken the time to do that. And I did say to them, I said, you know, you would have got a personalized Christmas card had my printer not stopped working the day before, or a couple of days before Christmas. And you would have had different cookies and things. And if my freezer hadn't broken down just before Christmas, and I was going through this litany of things that had gone wrong, and I said, so I did the best I could. And you could tell from the way that people reacted that the best I could was way better than they expected. And that made me happy. Sandy, I think your perfectionism probably gets in your way quite a bit. And if you are going to make beautiful gifts like the ones that I saw next year, you probably need to make sure that you start in January. All right. And start making them immediately and put them away so you don't have the stress that you went through. Sharon did buy some new string lights today at 75% off. That is smart shopping. You know, that is using the Christmas sales to your best advantage. It's a great time to buy a Christmas sweater for next year. It is a great time to buy Christmas ornaments or a Christmas tree for next year. It is a great, you know, this is the whole thing. It's clever. How many of you are quite exhausted? How many of you feel, even though you didn't have all the family over or whatever, how many of you in some ways feel more exhausted than normal? I was delighted at how much I could do this Christmas. You know, instead of saying, oh, well, I can't have people over and I can't do this and I can't do that, I really worked on, I know I am allowed to visit one person, you know, and I've got this one couple that I visit because I live on my own. It is you know, it is clear that if you live on your own, you can have one couple that you can visit because otherwise your mental health will be affected. So I made sure that when they said to me, yeah, would you like to come over and do this? Or would you like to come over and do that? I made sure I said yes, because it was too easy just to stay at home. And all right, so Sandy is saying that the reason she doesn't start in January is because I'll change my mind 100 times if I start early. So really, you shoot yourself in the foot. I have decided that once I get everything back into the house, which will hopefully will be April, that I will be back in the house, that I am going to start making Christmas gifts then. I'm going to take one day a week where I start on Christmas gifts and put them away because I am going to do creative ones. Yes, Becca's saying that she lost She's saying, but 2020 was a very emotionally heavy year for her, and that she lost 3 people very close to her. It is so sad to hear that, Becca, but you are not alone. I have had 3 deaths in my environment, plus a friend of mine has just gone through a brain tumor operation, and they didn't get it all. And so I don't think you're alone, honey. And it is interesting that that you have your faith, and that is important. That you do have your faith to fall back on, and that because that you are a Christian, you believe you will see them again. And I don't think it's a blessing in disguise. I think it's it is something that is a blessing. It's that those of us who have faith do believe that we will meet each other again. To me, that is a wonderful thing. But Becca, just so you know, I was talking to a friend of mine last week. He has lost 9 people this year. 9. Can you imagine that in 1 year? So we all have had a very tough year in so many ways. And it'll be the reason why we will tell, or you will tell your grandchildren that you survived 2020. And I'm hoping you'll be alive to tell your grandchildren that. I like this one. It said, even before Christmas has said hello, it's saying bye, bye. And Milton Berle said, there are lots of things money can't buy. Not one of them is on my son's Christmas shopping list. And Jimmy Kimmel said, it's a special time of year where your whole family gathers together in one place just to look at their cell phones. So you look at it, and we all have so much for which we can be grateful. I looked at my friend with the brain tumor and really honestly believed how thankful I was that he made it through the operation. He could have died during the operation and still got to have another Christmas at home with his wife, and to not be kept in hospital and pass there. And if you look for the good, you can find it in life. That is my belief. If you look for the good, if you think about it, I am a month away from living in my new house for a year. The only problem is I've been out of it for 3 months already. So if you think about it, I moved into my new house in January. COVID hits hard in February, and we were in lockdown immediately. And then September, I had the fire, and then I got displaced to this place that I'm in, which, with all due respect, is very comfortable. I have no complaints about it. But, it's not home. It's, it is a furnished apartment, be it a nice one, but it's a furnished apartment. And so it's like living in a hotel room, with a hotel suite, if you like. And I really noticed it at Christmas time. I kept thinking, well, I need to make muffins. I'll get my muffin tins. Oh, I don't have any. Well, I'm not going to buy new muffin tins. I've got way too many already. Right. So then it had to be, what am I going to do instead? And then when the deep freeze broke down, I just went, I'm really getting challenged on all sorts of levels. Here I am in a rented apartment and the deep freeze fails on me. Now, I just filled it all up with food. But, I just went, okay, now I've got to get creative. I need to cook everything in there that is raw and use it up very quickly. So I've been having a very high protein diet this week. um, I wanted to ask you guys, what is your favorite carol? One of the things I noticed when we were doing the Christmas carol singing was that different people consider different Christmas carols. I am very much the religious Christmas carol sort of singer, and I don't know too many of the Frosty the Snowman type things. Really funny. I want to say, Benji, I am more than good on the painting side of things. I was talking about that at lunchtime today. And you know something, Benji, I have decided that even though I wasn't going to unpack the easel and put it together, thank you so much for that. I cannot believe that I've got an easel. I've never had an easel in my whole life. But I've decided I am going to unpack it and I'm going to put it together. And I'm going to take some of the time that I've got here between now and when I go back to do some painting just for me. But first, Benj, I need some drop cloths because I don't want to be ruining the carpets on here. So that's on my list to get from Amazon this week, is a couple of drop cloths to put down in the dining room area here. And then I'm going to put the easel together and the paints and everything, and I'm going to have such fun. And you know, Benji, I you know, you probably wouldn't have heard this, but the funniest thing was I was about to I was about to throw the box that one of the things came in. I was about to discard it, and I thought, I just will take the packing that was in it out, you know, and put it in. I've got a whole plastic bag with packaging materials in it. And I'm so glad I did, because guess what I found? A most beautiful set of brushes. I went, and to think that nearly went in the garbage. So I am glad that I dug to the bottom of that box. You know, it was so funny because it was wrapped in the regular sort of craft paper that you would normally just throw out. Yeah. Oh, that's so kind of you to say that. Benji's saying that I should unpack the easel and get it used and dirty. You know, thank you for mentioning that, because I'm certain everybody will agree with me when you've got an easel that is that beautiful. And I will definitely show the viewers, but when it's that beautiful, part of me was scared to unpack it and get it dirty. Isn't that funny? The other thing is that, you know, with the sort of art that I do, you know, I normally paint flat, but then I remembered there are certain things that when I first started painting, there were certain things that I did at an angle, and I love those as well. And so I'm going to look really forward to doing some of those. So thank you. And, you know, at least you will see that I enjoyed the process. So have the girls enjoyed their stickers? I will go to the store, but the store is over where I used to live, and then some, Benj. So I will need to do that sort of on one of my trips out. Yeah, well, there's a reason why I'm glowing when I talk about it. You know, if you when I get this put together and you guys see what a beautiful easel it is, and you know, he also get put in paint. The people in the store, you know, also put in paint and the brushes and stuff. I will actually go to my house and get some gallons of paint, because I use a lot of paint on the canvases to start with. Oh, yeah. Oh, did you see that, Benji? That was so funny because I got another one yesterday where I had a package this big. It must have been this big, and it had one lipstick in it. And it was just like, really. It's driving me insane, the amount of packaging that we are wasting. The other thing is I'm going to start using my Amazon boxes. I'm going to cut them up, and I'm going to start using the cardboard as canvases. I've done it. If Benji, you've been to my house, and there is a big pink and blue and white painting that sits between my dining room and my living room. I did that on cardboard 30 years ago. And cardboard makes a wonderful canvas if you use it correctly. I found out. So I will be doing that. And that's why I'm just looking. First of all, I'm keeping them so I can pack things up to move back home. But after that, I am going to be cutting them up and using the cardboard for canvases. I was wondering, has anybody thought about the amount of cardboard we are putting into the system because of everything we're buying on Amazon? And has anybody found a way to reuse those boxes in different ways? Are you painting them and making little shelf dividers in your shelves? Are you, is anybody doing anything constructive? Because I am certain the number of cardboard boxes in circulation this Christmas must have been horrific. And I, for one, I've actually going to use some of the boxes I've got now and turn my studio room. I've got a little, what do you call it? One bedroom plus a little room. And I am going to turn that into a pantry because there isn't a lot of pantry space here. So I'm going to turn those boxes sideways and start building a pantry in that room. Yeah, a cardboard makes a wonderful canvas if you're using acrylics. Yes, Benji's saying, I thought of that today. Yeah, good thing that most cardboard is biodegradable. But I think even biodegradable is a waste. Do you know what I mean? It's like we should use it before we throw it out. Good. Jody's saying, I'm using the cardboard boxes for craft supplies. Good. Sandy's saying, funny story. My kids and husband got gifts wrapped with my medical supply boxes. That's why I'm saying we need to think environmentally friendly more and more. And good one. And by the way, Sandy said the clean ones. Yeah. Benji's saying it's crazy how many boxes are being used right now. That's what I think as well. I heard Amazon used the big box for your glue because of the small box shortage. That makes sense as well. But also, it was interesting, Benji. I don't know if you heard the broadcast that I did where I compared, should we be using soda in aluminum cans or glass? Did you hear that one, Benji? And just while Benji's answering me that, Becca, I want to tell you, I did a painting on cardboard 30 years ago. I didn't even cover it in a varnish or anything. I just took the cardboard and I had it framed, and it is still good today. So, it looks brand new. It doesn't, it's not even under glass. It just literally is a piece of cardboard that I painted and framed. No glass protecting it, no varnish protecting it, just as it is. So that works. Yeah, anyway, so I'm not sure if Benji's still there, but it was very interesting that it is far better to buy pop in aluminum cans which are fully recyclable and easily recycled, because it costs less to transport them in cans. And I thought that was really interesting. We would have thought, okay, better to do it in glass because we can recycle glass, but glass is so heavy. Therefore, more emissions and everything else. I thought that was a really interesting point. So let's all be, I want to spend another year talking about how we can continue to downsize and reuse and recycle. And I know that you guys enjoy it when we do those broadcasts. Yeah. So I think these little bits of information, it's amazing. And I literally am looking at, actually, I could almost cut these boxes up and make drop cloths out of boxes. I've got enough tape that I could just tape boxes together and make a subfloor. That's quite clever, Sal. Hmm. And then when I go, I can just leave it. And they can do what they like with it. That actually is quite clever. I might consider that. I wonder if I've got enough. Maybe drop cloth is safer. So, oh, life is so challenging, isn't it? So, Jimmy Kimmel said, I left Santa gluten-free cookies and organic soy milk. And he put a solar panel in my stocking. No. Sorry, that was from Earthman Adam. All right, so Jimmy Kimmel said, of course Santa is dead. You force a guy to eat 1 billion cookies in one night. What do you think's going to happen? Well, again, I was talking at lunchtime, and I really do find this interesting that although I did a lot of Christmas baking, I am amazed that a lot of the things I baked, because I was doing it in different ways, was not as horrendously sugar intensive as I normally would have cooked. And as we were saying, just that replacing the oil in a cake mix with applesauce went from close to 1,000 calories to 83. So you look at it and go, there are such wonderful hacks these days that we can do. Robert Rivers said, the older we get, the fewer useless gifts I get. The fewer I get, the less I have to wrap to re-gift for next Christmas. Oh, and this is the next thing. How many of you bought your Christmas presents but are not going to feel the hit on your credit card? Now, that's the interesting thing. How many of you stayed within your budget and, are not going to be in debt come tomorrow? I worked really hard this year of paying off my credit card each time I bought something on it. I'm certain I still have something on my credit card, but I worked really hard to try and make sure that I stayed ahead of the game, or at least level with the game, so that whatever I bought at the last minute was the only thing that probably will be sitting on there. So I didn't want to go into January in debt. So what about the rest of you? How did you do? Let's see how everybody did. Because it takes a lot of reality to realize that to put yourself in debt to make other people happy is not very clever. All right, Jody's saying a very small credit card hit for us. It'll be paid off next month. Yes, well done, Jody. And it's that to me is a gift to yourself. All right? That is a gift to yourself. And I have tried pretty hard since I've been here that every Sunday I look at my credit card and I pay it off. So that I keep aware of what I am putting on my credit card. Like this one, it said, I don't know who said it, but it said, once you stop believing in Santa Claus, you get underwear for Christmas. And this one was one of my favorites. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, but if the white runs out, I will drink red. I loved what it says on this sweatshirt, which is, it's a Mickey Mouse one, and Mickey Mouse is looking very rueful, and he says here, I can't explain. And I think that's so true. How many of you felt that you you were pretty good this year? You deserved Santa Claus this year. And if you look at it, what will you do differently for Christmas 2021, presuming that we make it there? All right, Becca is asking who else besides herself didn't have the Santa experience growing up. Now that was a religious thing, right? It was because of the faith that you have within your family. And so not everybody has that Christmas experience. Some people have the Hanukkah experience. Some people have, the Kwanzaa experience. So we've got all sorts of people of all different faiths, and that is quite normal. But I've noticed, Becca, that even though a lot of faiths don't celebrate necessarily Christmas, a lot of them choose to because there's a lot of advantage to it. But yes, if you in your household were not allowed to celebrate Christmas because of the faith, that must have been a difficult time. And especially when all of your friends were doing that. How did that feel, Becca? When all of your friends were celebrating Christmas and you weren't allowed to? Well, no, you didn't get the Tooth Fairy or the Easter Bunny. That's right, and Becca, that I think you'll find that's because of the faith that you practice, where a lot of people don't, and it is. I think it must have been so difficult as a child that everybody else was getting the Tooth Fairy experience and you didn't, or everybody else played with the Easter Bunny eggs at Easter time and you didn't. It must have been very difficult for you. But you have one advantage. You didn't have to go through the disappointment of finding out there was no Santa Claus, and you didn't have to go through the disappointment of finding out there wasn't an Easter bunny or a tooth fairy. So, I think in some ways, I asked this question some weeks ago, which is, I wonder whether the lies we tell children should continue. All right, so Becca's saying she did grow up with many Christmas experiences, but not any of the commercialized stuff. So you didn't get Christmas presents and Christmas cards or a Christmas tree, but you did go to church. Yeah, and Becca's saying it wasn't that difficult for her, honestly. I think I just didn't understand why Christian families still did, but we didn't. I can totally understand that would be very confusing for you as a child. The same way, Becca, and I often talk to this, where if you're at school and all the kids are getting iPads and iPhones and your family can't afford them, that is, you sort of go, why can't I have one? Everybody else has got one. So it's difficult to, when those things happen to a child, it does get very confusing. And I think especially when you're talking about faith-based things, one place where we did the leadership camp didn't allow any dancing or any contact. It was really weird, but it was because of the faith that was practiced at that. The people who owned that particular camp were of a certain denomination. And it was really difficult for me because, I'm a hugger. But guess what? I learned. So Becca's saying, no, we got Christmas presents and Christmas cards and trees, but not the let's see how much we can spoil our kids things or any of the commercial glitzy version. Well, surely the commercial glitzy is the presents and the tree. And so what didn't you get? Let me rather ask that question. That would be easier. So what was it that you didn't get that was confusing to you? And I'm not seeing anybody else join in on this conversation, so it looks like you were the only one of the people that are online today. Maybe other people will talk to her. But I think that there are an awful lot of families this year that will have done with a lot less because they didn't have it. Think of all the families this year that are almost homeless. I'm certain that their Christmas was very, very thin this year. It didn't mean there was any lack of love. I made a point this year of not spending a whole lot of money I couldn't afford. I really did. I made a point of it. I know that I'm going to be feeling quite a severe hit when I have to rebuy everything for my house. And so therefore it was just like, no, charity begins at home. I'm going to buy everybody gifts, but I'm not going to go insane. So, I look at it and go, I think there will be so many people that had a different Christmas this year, but I don't think that they necessarily will have had a worse Christmas this year. Do any of you feel that you really felt more in touch with Christmas this year just because it was so different? Yeah, Jody's saying, I grew up in a household of faith. However, I was allowed the Santa experience and the Easter Bunny. And I was expected to show respect at all times. Yeah, I remember having this conversation with Jody and Lauren one night about the use of the word Xmas as opposed to Christmas. And it was interesting because I think it was Lauren that mentioned to me that, in her church that they were, nobody was allowed to use Xmas. And I said, it's interesting because I grew up in a high Anglican church and they allowed Xmas because the X, in their view, stood for Christ on the cross. And so it's interesting, isn't it, how different faiths actually interpreted that. Yeah, I love that, Jody. We talk about this every year with you, and I love it. Jody's saying, I was taught to write a thank you note before I was allowed to play with a toy that I was given as a gift. I think that is such a wonderful tradition. And one of the things that I think we can all agree on, with very few exceptions, that children are not taught those sort of base manners the same way as we were. And I say with exceptions because, I definitely know people in my group of friends who are very insistent that their children are grateful for everything they get. But it is going to be increasingly difficult. So many people will take for granted what this is all about. So I love that tradition of yours, Jody, and I must say that I hope people, take that experience. And if their children say, "Why should I write a thank you card?" I had somebody that I gave a gift to that didn't even bother to thank me for it, and one year, and I actually said to them, "Did you not enjoy it?" Yeah. And I said, "Oh, I just wondered because you never said anything." And I realized afterwards, those of us who were made to say thank you first would feel that more when people don't thank you back. Do you find that, Jody? That when you give a gift and people don't thank you, you feel it more because you weren't even allowed to play with something before you wrote the thank you. Interesting stuff. So hang on a second, let me read some stuff here. Sandy's saying, I don't think we were told Santa bought gifts. I struggled with this for my kids. So we do Santa with them, but we let it die down naturally. Jody's saying, my mom would supply the thank you cards and the markers, the stickers, etc., and I would spend the day writing them and putting stamps on. I felt so grown up. And Sandy's saying we did Santa with them. Yes. So I think it's a very personal thing, whether you do Santa or not. And as I said, for some people, it is a faith-based thing where they don't do Santa, and I understand that. I grew up with St. Nicholas because I was born in Holland. And that was an interesting thing because St. Nicholas came with Zwarte Piet. Now, Zwarte Piet is Black Pete, and Black Pete would take away the bad children. Talk about trauma. You knew that St. Nicholas was coming, but so was Zwarte Piet. And it was a case of either you were going to get presents or you were going to get taken away. How traumatic is that for a child, people? I mean, really. And I still, to this day, remember my most horrific Christmas experience as a child, and some of you can think about yours, but which was that when I was probably about 5 or 6, I was already at boarding school at 5 or 6. Must have been 6, I think. Anyway, but there was we must have done a school play or something, and it was about the value of love. And I can remember that, the story was about a woman that was so poor that she gave her children empty boxes and wrapped them up for Christmas. And when the children unwrapped them, they said, "But there's nothing in it." And she said, "No, they're filled with love." And I can remember I was so touched by that story. I really was. And I went home and told my mommy about, this incredible play that we had done, and about the story. You know how children at that age repeat everything. Well, if you can imagine it, Christmas Day came, and there was the Christmas tree, and there were presents all over the room, just flowing away from the Christmas tree. And everybody had all these exciting presents, and every box that had my name on it was empty. And I, to this day, can remember looking at my mother and saying, "Why?" And she said, "But you told us that's what you found so beautiful, so we thought we'd give you nothing." And then burst out laughing. I want to tell you something. I never forgot that. I never forgot it because it taught me that telling the truth wasn't a good thing. Can any of you relate to that? Sandy's saying, as a kid, Christmas was extended cousins, a big party, lots of food and fun. My uncle would dress like Santa using household things. It wasn't about gifts, it was about the togetherness. Yeah. And I want to tell you that that's why this year I didn't, spend a whole lot on gifts. It isn't necessary. It's about, did you remember people? And I have tried to make that the focus. So I look at it and go, I am certain we have all made mistakes with our children or our friends or families or whatever. But if you have made a mistake of some sort, if you accidentally have hurt somebody, then, be intelligent enough to apologize for it and say, "It wasn't my intent to hurt you. It just, got out of hand," or whatever it was. And I'd like to make sure that not too many days go by before I apologize for it. Because having the courage and the character to apologize is a sign of great strength. Sandy's saying, as a kid, okay, sorry, we just read that already. So if we remember that what Christmas is about is forgiveness and the act of love, then we are in a better place. Sandy's also saying that we would gather at Christmas Eve and open small presents at midnight and then spend Christmas Day together again. These are the memories I cherish. Yeah. I watched somebody, Sandy, give their 1-year-old, who would have no memory of those presents, get so many presents for their first birthday. And it was like a bidding competition as who could give the better present. And I remember thinking, what an incredible waste of money. And this was years ago, 20 years ago that I saw it happen. And I remember thinking, this is just like, they weren't buying presents for the child. They were buying presents for the other people in the family to see how much they had spent. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I was horrified. I was absolutely horrified. And, 20 years later, it still hurts me to think about it. And I was thinking that all those presents could have gone to children, who didn't have any presents at all, instead of this one child. I'm not joking. Some of those presents must have cost hundreds of dollars. And you're giving them to a 1-year-old. And how many people were going hungry that Christmas? How many people would not have any presents at all? And I agree with you, Sandy. Crazy. And that's a judgment. Yeah, and Sandy's saying it bugs me how material kids are today. I worked really hard not to spoil our children. Excuse me, everybody. I was saying that we have unfortunately raised a new generation, not everybody, but to a large extent, we've raised a new generation of children who have no ability to wait for anything, right? They see the latest iPhone, iPad, whatever, and they want it now, and they expect it now. Hi, Emma. Emma, I'm saying, I think I would have cried if I'd got empty boxes for Christmas. I'm so sorry, Sal. I'm glad that all your other Christmas times have been better and all those ones to come. Yeah, I cried too. I don't mind telling you. I went to my room and I cried quite a lot that Christmas because the sadness was that it really taught me not to tell the truth. And I'm sorry about that. Kez is saying there are Christmas movies where the father tries everything to get the child the latest fad toy. Oh, God, yes. Jody's saying this year, Lyle and I gave each other just a few small token gifts. There was something about it, however, that made it one of the most special Christmases. Being together was most important. I quite agree with you, Jody, and that was what I was alluding to earlier. That even though this was a very different Christmas, I believe it had a lot of very important points to it this year. That we are so grateful to be alive. We are so grateful to have the friends that we have. And I am glad I'm not the only one that felt that. Sandy's saying, with my kids, it shows they can't wait for things anymore. Must stream everything now and at one time. Yep. So what are we going to do about it, though? How are we going to teach children, that you're not going to be able to get things immediately? And as post-pandemic, the economy gets more and more challenged, as more and more people lose their jobs, as life gets more and more difficult, which I think it surely will, how are we going to teach children who've been spoiled all their lives that they can't be spoiled anymore and that they're going to have to save up for things? Can you imagine? How many of you can remember saving up to get something that you wanted? Not that just because you wanted an Xbox, you got one, but you saved for a long time and you did a lot of chores to earn the money, to earn that money to be able to buy it. See, I think that is real life stuff. Jamie. Oh, Jamie, I'm so glad. So you got a new job. I am so happy for you. So happy for you. I was concerned when I read your note. Well, I have a feeling that's moving you in a new direction that will be very good for you, Jamie. And I want to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. And not only that, but a very, very safe New Year. I think the greatest gift we could give each other this year is safety. And, I would beg you all to be as safe as you possibly can. Yes, it's all about new beginnings, right? And new values and new friends and new ways of doing things. I think it's wonderful that you can see that, Jamie. And trying to wait for it to go back to how it used to be will be a total waste of time, because I don't believe we will ever go back to how it used to be. The thing is to find out, can I cope with it as it is? And if I am lucky, it might get better. If you can cope with it as it is, then you will be fine. If you can adjust to what's going on and not think twice about wearing a mask, because the chances are we may have to wear them for, for the longest time. Not think twice about it. It's part of, you go out, you wear a mask. And I personally like the shield one where people can still see me smile. And so, it's all about, you can do this if you want to, or you can complain about it and say they're infringing your rights or whatever. I don't see it that way at all. I look at it and go, stay safe and be here to celebrate another Christmas. Jamie's saying, yes, thank God. I've been seeing clients taking all the precautions and no COVID outbreak. Well done. You know what I found out today, Jamie? My doctor works out of a sort of community that has its own elder care place in it. I just heard that community's elder care place has had an outbreak of COVID. And I am scared. That's where my doctor works. I'm scared for him, because I am certain he will not think twice about helping people. And, because that's his job. He's a doctor. But it's like, wow. I am scared for him. Kez is saying, my favorite thing other than family is food, is the food, especially the desserts. Get them to help out at homeless shelters, give them Christmas meals or make boxes of essentials to give to homeless kids. I agree with you, Kez. Teach your children how lucky they are. Yes, Jody's saying it's the new norm. Before you leave the house, got your keys, got your mask. Okay, good to go. Oh, Jody, I have one more. Got my keys, got my mask, got my antiseptic wipes. I add that to my list. Plus, I carry an small antiseptic bottle on my keychain, so that if my antiseptic wipe dries out, I can wet it with more antiseptic. So I'm hoping you found some value in tonight's broadcast. I'm hoping that you can see that life is just going to be what it is. I'm hoping you can see how lucky we are to be alive and how grateful we can be. I, for one, want to tell you, I am very, very happy that I am here and able to talk to you. I can feel that I might have got a bit of a cold when I was out there doing the Christmas Carol thing. But it was amazing. We had an attitude of what can we do, not what can't we do. All right. So we reckoned we could still sit outside round a campfire, a gas campfire, and sing carols. And what we waited for was for somebody to complain, because that's normally what happens. Nobody did. Isn't that interesting? Nobody complained that we were singing carols. And I thought that was wonderful. And it was just a magic memory. And so I look at it and go, this is what our new life is about. Don't waste time thinking about what you cannot do. Please spend time going, this is the new norm. I need to get used to it, and I need to enjoy it, because I need to live my life within these parameters now and be happy. And again, I am certain a lot of people said, well, we can't do this and we can't do that. We absolutely had a blast getting out there. And by the way, we didn't have I had half a glass of wine. We didn't get drunk. I felt quite safe driving home. It wasn't the usual sort of see how much you can drink for the evening type event. It was just, we played games and we had a lot of fun. We laughed a lot. Yes, and listen to this from Jamie. She said, "This may be the new normal, but God is the same yesterday, today, and forever." And I think, Jamie, one of the things that you will hear me say time and time again, for those of us who have faith, whatever that faith is not the issue. But for those of us who have faith, we have a great advantage over a lot of people who don't. And I think that is a magical thing. And so for all of you who have faith, stay faithful. For all of you who have faith, be the wonderful example that people can say, gosh, how can she still be that happy or whatever, even though so much difficulty is going on. And I think when we can be that example for other people, that is our faith in action. Let us be able to deal with reality. Let us be able to be flexible. I don't think, for those of you who have a strong faith, I don't think it was ever said that life would be easy, right? I think it was said that we need to know that we can cope. And that is exactly what we try to do here. So tomorrow we will be doing another broadcast at 3:30. We will be doing our Coping with Stress broadcast. But I want to say that those of you who are able to cope with this pandemic will live a very happy life. If you stay safe, you will live a very happy life because you will have learned lessons this year that probably a lot of people would not have learned except for the pandemic. We will be grateful at a whole different level, and we will love each other at a whole different level. And I am very happy for that. This is Dear Mama Sal saying thank you so much. And I will now put away my Christmas sweater. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 3:30 Pacific time. This is Dear Mama Sal saying love you dearly. Remember, life has its ups and downs. It is definitely not easy sometimes, but we can get through it together if we choose to. Bye-bye for now.